Welcome everybody to the next episode of Natta with Macca, and I'm super excited to have a dear friend on today. I'll give you a bit of a background on her. Janelle Pallister, nee Elford. She was known as Janelle Elford. She was known in her heyday as Big Red and has been described as having a heart the size of Phar Lap. She won back-to-back Pan-Pacific gold medals in 1989 and 1991 in the 1500 freestyle, and a silver medalist in the 800 freestyle in 1989. Janelle won gold, silver and bronze, the complete collection at the 1990 Commonwealth Games, and she swam the race of her life in the 1988 Mission Bay swim meet in Florida, where she won gold and swam a time that would have beaten the world record had it not have been broken the year before. That record, though, had stood for 10 years, so it was a phenomenal event. Janelle is an Olympian. She's an Olympic finalist in 2 events in 1988, and she now lives on the beautiful Sunshine Coast with her family. And she's forged herself a very successful career as a swim coach, including coaching her daughter Lani to international success at the World Junior Championships in Budapest, where Lani won 3 gold and 3 silver medals. Please welcome Janelle.
Hey Jules, how you going?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, very good.
I need to record a crowd cheering, and
yay!
Although there's no crowds at sporting events. There's no sporting events.
No, not these days.
So congratulations on your swimming and coaching career. You've done incredibly well. You're an incredible achiever. You've made your mark as a very successful pool and surf coach. What do you believe are some of the strengths that you feel has given you an advantage being a female?
Well, I suppose that's actually completely opposite question than what I normally get.
I know, right?
I think female, yeah, I think being a female coach, I think it's not giving the credit that should actually be given the credit. Females tend to have a little bit more insight in regards to being able to see body language, what's going on with the eyes, and whether that's from being a mum and learning to read your own kids, how they're feeling, whether they're upset, whether they're happy, and all that kind of thing. So I tend to actually read the body language of a lot of my athletes more so than what they're saying to me.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. So during all those long hours in the pool, how did you keep yourself motivated mentally?
I used to race.
Ditto.
Yeah. I think for me, I actually really enjoyed the training. The more I heard, the better I felt about myself. If I got out of the water and I was hurting, I was happy. And I've heard quite a few athletes say that in the past themselves, you included. It was just something that was a self-driven achievement. How hard could I push myself in training? And it's something that I look back at my logbooks now and I think, how in the hell did I ever do that? But you just do. You did it, and you enjoyed it while you were doing it.
That's it. Yeah, I've still got my logbooks here. Got all my logbooks. I used to keep, make them pretty and put little inspirational messages in them. So what still gives you excitement about the sport?
I think the big thing was the swimming. It's forever changing. Even though the strokes are the same and things like that, it's forever changing. There's the way I trained, the way you train is different than the way they're training now. I don't think the coaches are necessarily different. Like, you got your coaches like your Michael Bowles, your Chris Nesbitts, your Peter Bishops, and your Rowan Taylors, Glenn, Lee Nugent. They're still got that old way about them, but the new technology and the new information of ways to do it. So there's things that have changed, and I haven't given anywhere near what would be in my logbooks to my swimmers, but
why?
I don't think
why.
Well,
Tell me why.
16 400s butterfly. You know, I would never give anyone that. I'd be put in jail for child abuse.
That's probably right
But
too.
yeah. But you know, we did those kinds of things because that's what we were told to do. But you know, I tend to. I still have very high expectations, very high standards, and I always say to anyone that ever wants to come and swim with me that I'm never going to lower my standards. So if they want to swim with me, they have to up their standards to my standard. And as soon as I'm expected to lower my standards, that's the day. Then, you sell your soul, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So as 16 was a pretty pivotal moment for you. You were at crossroads with your sport, whether to give up or continue. So then you decided to make that phone call to Dick Kane, who's notoriously known as a tough trainer, super disciplined. Tell us a little bit about that decision making and that first phone call to Dick.
I remember, 1986 was Commonwealth Games year. At the beginning of 1986, I had a blood disorder, and it's sort of, that 15, 16, 17 for a female, even to this day, is that crossroads. Whether do I keep swimming? Do I not keep swimming? Am I still enjoying it? And I was starting to not enjoy it the way I used to. And I knew I hadn't got the best out of myself, but I just didn't think that I was going to get there at the swim squad I was at. Nothing was changing. I was changing, but nothing there was changing. And it's not in any way the squad's fault. It was more that I was changing within myself and not enjoying it. So if anyone was to blame, it was to blame on myself. So I decided if I was to change, I had to make a change completely. So I went home. I had a phone call from a friend of both of ours, Ross Payne, and he rang, and he'd already changed and had moved down to Dick Kane, and he rang and was asking how I was feeling, and I said, I'm not enjoying it. I'm thinking of giving it away. He said, why don't you give Dick a go? And I went, oh my God, I don't know if I'll be able to handle that. But I decided, well, why not? It's the one last ditch effort type thing. So I said to my mum, I'd like to have a meeting with Dick. And she nearly had a heart attack. I think she, because he had a very, very hard reputation. So she was like, are you sure? So we had a meeting. That was on the Wednesday. And then I started the very next day, which was on the first Thursday in October in 1986. And I seriously thought I'd died and gone to hell. And that was the first session. It wasn't like going easy on me the very first session. I was already, I'd died and gone to hell. So, end of year 11, and I was studying. My mum would come in, find the book, of me asleep with a book on my chest because I'd fallen asleep studying, as you would know yourself. And, and it just went from there.
So you mentioned before 16 400s butterfly. What do you feel was one of the hardest training sets you ever did?
I have a couple. There was one that Dick gave me a deal. It was 16 800s. I was on 10 minutes. For every 800 under 9 minutes, I could take one off. And I think at number 5, I went a 901 and I missed it. And mentally, it was starting to break me. So I had to do another one, and then another one. I ended up doing about 12. I ended up getting 4 off, but I did 12. So that was one. 16 400s fly. And that's a funny story with this one because I was normally allowed to do medley. So I said to Dick, can I do 4 fly, 4 medley? They're on 6 minutes and we had to stay under 5:10. And me expecting Dick to say, yep, no worries. He said no. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean no? So, I said, well, can I do every 4th one medley? He said, no. So got to the 8th number, number 8. We'd done 8 400s fly, kept them all under 5:10. And I said, Dick, can I do the next 4 medley? No. So I did the next 4th butterfly and I yelled out again, never giving up, mind you. I was still asking. can I do the last 4 medley? And he's gone, no. So we got to number 15. We completed 15 400s. And he's yelled out for number 16, Miss Elford, you can do the last one medley. And I said, you can shove your medley up your ass. So whether it was whether it was actually a test, a mental test or not, but I did the 16 fours fly, and I can still talk about it. And I can still move my shoulders. I never had a shoulder problem, so that was good. And I think my third one would be the one that I did with you, 60 100s jump outs on 110. And, you know, I still tell that story today, and still a lot of coaches just do not believe that we ever did it. And I said, you know, there's evidence. You can speak to Laurie Lawrence was there, Bill Sweetener was there, Julie McDonald was there. She did it with me, and I said, we did it. You know, we just belted it out.
Yeah. That was just before 88, right?
Over in Perth, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the 88 Olympics. You made 2 finals in the 400 and the 800. You got 5th in the 800 and 4th in the 400. In both races, you had East Germans winning medals ahead of you. What was your tactic going into the Seoul Olympics, knowing that these girls were on steroids?
I think for me, I was mostly a little bit intimidated by it because of the talk, and you know, I only really ever raced them once before. You know, they came out, not the really good ones. The good ones had stayed behind for whatever reason, we don't know. But anyway, they came out.
I guess.
Yeah, well, yes. But I'd never really had been exposed to them, and then it was a bit of a shock, you know, when you get exposed for the first time. Astrid Strauss, very very big. Anki Mooring, she was tall and quite lean, but still very that intimidation. And I don't know whether it was intimidation as a person or as the notoriety with the presumption of the drug taking. And I think I allowed that to get into my head too much. Yeah. So I didn't handle that very well.
Yeah. And I guess that's where I was sort of glad that I raced them at the World Championships in 86. You know, I remember looking at them and going, oh my goodness, you know, I've got to race these men, you know. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously there's been a lot of talk over the years about stripping medals and things like that. Or, you know, do you feel that they should be stripped medals, or do you feel that there should be medals made for people that should have won those places legitimately?
I don't believe they should be stripped, because they were in a regime that they were made to take them. That wasn't like they had a choice. You know, they took the drugs and took part in the whole regime of the training, the drug taking, and everything else. That was forced upon them by the coaches and the scientists and you know, and their organisation. So I don't believe the girls should be stripped of their medals, but I do believe that yourself, you would have got a silver medal, which should get a replica and be rewarded for the medal that they should have got if the drug taking or the drug I suppose drug analysis was correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So because I mean it's all proven, you know. There's a book out there of who was on what, and you know, the girls' names are in there. So that's where it's very sad. But I feel very sorry for them, because, you know, they've got a life of poor health because of it.
Yeah, I agree. So the following year, you went to Pan Pacs in Japan and won gold medal in the 1500 freestyle. You really excelled at the 1500. Like, I think it was one of those 16 400s, right?
Yeah, I know. It's a shame that it wasn't in the Olympics back then. But anyway, neither was the open water. I'm sure we would have done well at that one too.
And probably then an Ironman or something like that. So you won gold at in the 1500 freestyle. Has Lani beaten your 1500 freestyle time yet?
She's beaten me in everything now.
So, what were you thinking? What are you thinking making her that good?
I suppose that I've always got that one up on her, that I actually coached her to be better than me. So that's a good thing.
The following year, Commonwealth Games, 1990, there was a big battle between yourself and I leading into those games with our coaches, always in the media telling the media that both of us were going to kick each other's butt. You got the honour of walking out into the opening ceremony representing Australia. I'm not sure the outfit that you got to wear. You'll probably remember that. And the designer. Tell us what it was like for you to walk out in front of those thousands and thousands of people representing your country and being nominated as that significant Australian.
When I first got told about it, I was shocked, because I never had, I suppose, that much thought process of how good I was. I think for me, I always thought I was just another face in the crowd. So to be nominated like that, it was pretty emotional, and I was pretty excited by it. And then, walking out there, it's very euphoric. And, it doesn't matter whether you're out in front of the team wearing the national outfit, or standing next to your teammate walking out in the opening ceremony. The whole process is quite euphoric, and it's something that it's really hard to explain. And you went to the opening ceremony for the Olympics and Commonwealth Games, and you don't remember walking on the track. It's just you're floating around the track, and it's just something that you just and it's just this forever smile on your face, and you're just floating, and it's very euphoric.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was your favorite moment of those games?
The chicken dance.
I've got photos of that, actually. Very funny.
There were so many. There's, it was a very friendly games. I really enjoyed them because they were friendly, they were happy. I think it's different, the Olympics. The Olympics are so very serious. But I'd also, now that I'm a fair bit older, I've heard different people speak of different Olympics. And, as coaches, I've spoken to one coach who's been on 3 Olympics. The first one was very intense. The second one was very direct. The third one he went to was very enjoyable, because he allowed himself to enjoy the process. And, and me as a coach now, listening to those 3 different experiences, I try to allow athletes to enjoy the process, even though there's pressure on them, but allow themselves to enjoy the process, because I tend to think we weren't really allowed to enjoy that process when we were swimming.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, good thought. So what do you believe that was your secret weapon with your training regime?
I just had an ability to hurt myself, and enjoy it. I just did. I don't know. I really relished the fact that, I could really get in there and hurt myself and challenge. I remember, swimming next to Kieran Perkins and pushing him. Not that I was anywhere near it breaking 15 minutes for a 1500, but to be as close to him as possible. And especially in 1990 when we were training, it was just, that, I'm that close. So it's, I don't know. I just had an ability to really hurt myself.
Yeah. So you talked before about lining up for the Olympics, and did you get more nervous for particular events, or were you nervous before a race?
Yeah, it's strange, because you're most probably one of my toughest competitors, but racing you, I was comfortable. And whether it's because I knew you and I knew what to expect, when to expect it, or how to expect it, I was comfortable racing you. I was confident racing you, even though we most probably went 50-50, once it was you, once it was me, then you, and then me. And we went backwards and forwards. So it was never a real given. But internationally, I think I sort of didn't have that confidence racing, especially the East Germans, and and maybe even the Americans. I didn't have that international experience that I believe that they're getting these days. So and I
the
think
racing.
that's experience. Sorry. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, no, they're racing a lot more internationally now, hey?
Yeah, definitely. And it's, it's important. And I see Lani, she's so, and I speak about Lani because, I've been on the junior teams with her over the last 3 years as a coach. And I see how so relaxed she is with with the Americans and, and their friends, and they're on their social platform, that they're always in touch with each other. So there's not that inhibition of racing people. So, yeah.
Yeah, good point. Do you have a favourite chef?
I'm actually, I liken myself to Marco off
Yeah, I know.
It says
Master
yes, chef. Off Master Chef. Whereas people are always going yes, Marco. So I make fun of it, and at training I go, I'll say something and I'll say yes, Janelle. Come on, I'm like Marco. Maybe Gordon Ramsay because he swears a lot. Not that I swear a lot, but he gets his emotions out. Where I tend to hold my hands behind my back and squeeze like hell. But not necessarily, not a special chef.
Yeah. Have you ever suffered depression?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I most probably suffered a form of depression, anxiety, sadness along the way. Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Was
definitely.
That more so
go on.
When you finished, or how did you manage that transition from sport to real normal life?
Normal life. I was actually, well, whether I was lucky, I don't know. I went from swimming and I went straight into being a flight attendant. So I went from being part of a swimming team, and then I was part of a team while I was at work. So, and that team was forever changing because every time I was on a trip, it was forever changing. So you're always meeting new people. And I was able to transition quite well because I was able to not hide, but slide into another role very, very easily. It wasn't really until I had the kids and then I took a redundancy from the flying, then I started to sit back, and I think my mind started to unwind, that I started to feel that loss.
Yeah. And tell us a bit, what's one of your favourite memories of being a flight attendant? Because you're an international flight attendant first. I know there were lots of perks back in those days.
Yeah, look, I did so much. I ended up doing a lot because I made myself go and do things. As a flight attendant, you have a little routine in each city that you go to, and you sort of get stuck in those routines. And I did that for a little bit, but then I started to actually force myself to go out. So I forced myself to go to the Singapore Zoo, and and I said to the crew, anyone want to come? And no one wanted to go. So I went down by myself and went and had breakfast with the orangutans, which I say are my relatives because of the red hair, long arms. So, and I went and did that by myself, and, and I just gave my camera to a stranger and said, can you take some photos? And, and I went to Buckingham Palace by myself, and I would sort of go around and just go and do things. So, I've sort of forced myself to get out there and be really independent, and it never really bothered me. So I've always been one to be able to just go and ask questions, and where do I find this, or where do I find that, and how do I do this, or, and it's never, ever, I've never sort of been scared to ask that way for help, to go and find something. And I think that's a trait that Lani's taken on. I think Owen's less like that with me. He's more the sort of the shy side, but Lani's quite open to asking everything and anything and anyone. So
yeah, good. That's good.
I had great times flying, a lot of good times. I was a bit of a practical joker. you know, flying into Sydney, I would sew up the inside of another crew member's sleeve, so they'd go to put their arm in and they couldn't get their arm in their sleeve, and you know, cold towels in their pocket, wet towels in their pocket, and cut up little pieces of paper and put it all through their bag, and you know, just different types of things. So, you know, it just adding, you know, still being professional, but being lighthearted and enjoying the whole experience, and you know, and creating just a little bit of fun. Smile, you know, I used to see how many smiles or good mornings I could get. I would count, you know, and especially when I went domestic, when, you know, the first flight out of Sydney, there's a lot of businessmen and they were on a mission. So I would be like, good morning, 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 morning. So, you know, that's the...
You do have an incredible...
Going back to our chef question,
Yeah.
I met Matt Galinsky, and heard his story. Amazing man, amazing story, amazing chef. So that was very inspiring. I met him last year.
Oh yeah, nice. I'd love to meet him. Yeah.
Amazing.
You do have an incredible ability to forge close friendships very quickly, and that have endured the length of time. What do you feel that has been your secret with that?
I just feel like I'm a good listener. You know, I tend to listen, and I've always said to the kids, you know, if you listen and you ask questions, you know, the person will start to open up. And I also believe that, you know, it's something... If someone says something to me in confidence, I don't go and gossip about it. If it's in confidence, they're trusting me for a reason. And if they're trusting me, well, then it's in the vault, you know. So, and I don't say anything until they sort of say, oh yeah, everyone knows about that now, you know, but it never comes from me. So yeah, I tend to be a good listener. I've got long arms, so I'm a good hugger. You know, my arms get around people. And I have empathy.
Yeah, nice. So who was your hero growing up?
My hero?
Or do you have one now?
Pardon?
Or even if you have one now?
So I would say swimming-wise, I think I would go to Lisa Forrest. Mm-hmm. She was a very big, smiley, happy type person. And I remember being a New South Wales person, growing up in New South Wales, being that younger swimmer, I would always look towards her, and she was someone that I suppose I wanted to try to emulate. And you know, the big smile, being happy type thing. And
nice.
My mum and dad. I've lost my mum.
Yeah. And that was recent. So so tell me someone who has been a big influence or inspiration in your life that wasn't a parent. Apart from Dick, was there someone else?
I would say my husband. You know, he's definitely encouraged, pushed, you know, along the way. Yeah, definitely that. You know, I suppose when I haven't believed in myself, he's like, you know, he's given me that belief and that encouragement. So I would say, my husband. You know, there's so many people out there that if you open up, you can you gain something from them. You're always learning something. The athletes, you know, I'm always learning something. You know, I'm getting wrinkles from them, but I'm learning something as well. So, you know, but yeah, definitely my husband's been a big influence.
Yeah, awesome. So let's talk about Lani, your daughter. She has achieved a lot already in her life, including swimming faster than you and I. I'm never going to forgive you for that.
You broke your record and my record in the same year.
I know, right? Very funny, very funny. Actually, I'll tell this funny little story. So I try not to make these things about me, but this is relative to us. So last year, I think it was March last year, I had a message on Facebook. Someone posted on my Facebook a picture of the swimming program saying, Julie, look, you've got a record. It's 31 years old. And I'm like, oh, wow, I've still got a record, you know. That afternoon, I get a message from your daughter saying, sorry, Julie, but I broke it. And I
Yep.
just made my day. Just made my day. I thought that was just, and I, I messaged you obviously after that, and I said, how ironic is that your daughter goes and kicks my butt.
You know, no one ever would have been able to write a better story. You know,
No.
you and I competitors, and my daughter actually breaks your record and then breaks my record as well.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So what's it like training Lani, being a mum? How do you switch hats, mum and coach?
Oh, it's very challenging. It's very, very challenging.
To give people a bit of an idea of the type of person Lani is. You obviously your nickname was Big Red because you had your nice flame red hair. She's a red, right? So give a bit of an insight into her personality.
She's a very effervescent, she's a character, she gets on teams and she's a character, she was on Zoom the other day and that house party chat room, she flicked on and she got onto the Swimming Australia chat that they were having a chat and started chatting to them all. And they said, okay, Lani, you can go now. She went, oh, don't you want to talk to me? And they went, no, you can go now. Off you go. So she went, okay, see ya. So she doesn't have any kind of inhibitions in that way. And, I think, Rick being a little bit quieter, but me being a little bit more trying to educate her through the tunnels that you have to weave your way through, especially being a sports person at that level, with administration, with head coaches, with media and everything else, trying to make sure that you can navigate correctly. She's just one that's been able to really charm people, engage people, and it's not just Australians. So she sort of put herself into the American team, and she was chatting with the American coaches and the athletes and things like that. And then her very first junior world champs back in 2015, she was in the call room and started chatting to the girl next to her, and they're still friends to this day. So the ability to just start talking and chatting and being very lighthearted. She got out of that race, went straight over and hugged the girl from America, and there's that. I think it's something that I've always spoke to all my athletes about is that you can be friends right up until you stand on the block, and then your friendship goes, and then as soon as you touch the wall, you pick your friendship back up. And that's something that I constantly try to drive into all my athletes is that you don't have to be enemies. You may race your person, like your friend, and as soon as that gun goes, there are no friendships. But as soon as you touch the wall or cross the line or whatever it may be, the friendship picks back up. And we weren't really given that opportunity. I think we were pitted against each other before we even met each other. And that's something that I wish we could have changed. But who knows? We're friends now, so that's our journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you're training Lani, is she her success in Budapest was incredible. What was it like to see your daughter get up there and do all the things that you've done? It's a different perspective, right?
Yeah. It's a challenging one because whenever I'm around a pool or a pool deck, Lani calls me Janelle, but as soon as we're outside the pool, Lani calls me Mum. And it's just a rule that we've taken on. So anytime we've ever been on a team together, she's always called me Janelle. And it's more so the other athletes that look and they're like, I can't believe you call your mum Janelle. And she said, well, she's my coach while we're on the team. So it's always, whenever it's to do with swimming, it's always coach athlete. And I try to maintain that coach athlete. But I think, I learned this when she was 12 years old, that she was getting ready and it was just an age national. She was only 12. There was no expectations whatsoever. The night before she said, Mum, I've got a question. What happens if I don't swim well? And I said, well, you tell me, what happens? And she said, I don't know, what does happen? I said, well, you'll still go to bed as Lani Pallister. I said, you'll still get up as Lani Pallister. And I said, and you'll still get up and we'll still love you. So I said, nothing's gonna change. And you know, so she's always gone from that I suppose from the age of 12, she's had that support, knowing, you know, you swim well, you don't swim well. The love that she's going to have from her parents is not going to change. But me as a coach, you know, I'm a coach the whole time while she's racing. And as soon as she touches the, I think as soon as she touches the wall, that's when my emotions as a mum comes up.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So good to watch. So tell us a song that resonates with you, that either represent what you, when you hear it, you go, oh my goodness, that's me. Or when you hear it, it lifts you up and it gets you really excited.
You know, I play music at the pool, and then, you know, the kids all complain because it's all my old-fashioned music. They go, and it's and I always say it's music that I know the words to, and there's no swearing in it, so it's not so. But I think the song that resonates with me is "Hurt So Good" from John Cougar. You know, it was something that I would always, you know, I always liked swimming to. I liked racing to. It was a good beat, you know, and it kept me going. Another song that I play, I like it, but also to annoy the swimmers when they're training and everything. It's Karen Carpenter, "On Top of the World," and it's a very old-fashioned song.
Yeah, I love it.
It's just it's a very nice, light-hearted song.
Yeah.
You know, and then you know, it's, you know, there's all these different little ones. You know, there's "Cruel to Be Kind." You know, I always say to the athletes, this is my song. I'm cruel because I'm trying to be kind. You know, Elton John, "The Bitch Is Back." You know, it's all those, you know, I suppose I always find something that I can relate to in regards to what I can say to the athletes. You know, when that, you know, there's one that I always sort of that play, and it talks about being in the record books and the, you know, the Hall of Fame, and the Hall of Fame song. You know, it's something that I really love as well. And you know, and then I always say, winning isn't easy. Winning hurts like hell. So the more you hurt in training, the more you're going to get used to winning.
Yeah. Laura used to always say, better the pain of a hard workout than the agony of defeat.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So peanut butter, Vegemite or Promite?
Peanut butter and Vegemite, not Promite. I like both. I'll alternate between peanut butter, crunchy. I like the crunchy.
Yeah.
And Vegemite. Yeah. But I'm not a very thick Vegemite person. I like it nice and thin.
The way the Aussies do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your best advice that you'd give to a retiring sports person?
To a retiring sports person, find something that makes your heart sing. Mm-hmm. That's something that I think if you find something that really makes your heart sing, then it's something that keeps you going. But it's something, you know, there's another saying I say to the athletes as well that I coach: your sport is something that you do, it's not who you are. Find the person that you are.
Amazing. I love it. What has been for you your greatest achievement?
My 2 kids.
Yeah.
And my marriage, but my 2 kids, definitely my 2 kids. I've got a fur baby now that absolutely loves me, and my 2 kids love me, but he adores me. And you know, I've been married now for coming up for 23 years, so you know, I've endured a fair bit, and you know, having that lasting marriage, you know, I'm quite proud of.
Yeah, and you should be. It's pretty special.
Yeah.
What's your favourite board game?
Favorite board game? I like Monopoly because I like being in charge of money. I never have any, but I like being in charge of it. It's, you know, it's all those wishes, I suppose.
Yeah. Who would you like to meet, alive or dead?
Nelson Mandela.
Oh.
I'd like to look, yeah. I'm sure he's got so many stories and life experience, and being able to live one life and then live in the life that he lived in prison and then come out the man that he came out. It would be an amazing and very humbling experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Janelle, you are incredibly humble yourself. You're a lovely, beautiful person inside and out, and I'm very grateful that we are friends, and I'm super grateful that you allowed me to interview you today. You've had a tough couple of weeks, and so I'm really appreciative that you decided to come on, and I know that, oh, actually one more question.
Yep.
With this coronavirus thing, how are you, like your coaching, that's all had to stop, right? So tell us how you've managed to overcome that.
So basically what I'm doing, we're fortunate, you know, I live near the beach, so I'm able to still get athletes to go and do, you know, swims in the ocean and things like that. And you know, trying to help them remain accountable for themselves. So like if they're doing something 40 strokes, they can equate that to 50 meters, and you know, and you know, they may go 40 strokes out, come back in, and you know, you may do 20 of those, so that's 20 50s. Just maintaining a little bit of touch with the water, but also maintaining just being able to stay fit and healthy is the main thing. You know, you're allowed to get out and exercise, so making sure that they get out and they do something. Find something else, you know, play handball up against a wall, you know, hitting with both hands, learn something new, keep that kind of agility going and things like that. I've been out, because you're only allowed to do one-on-one now, so I do have a couple of multi-class swimmers, and there's one young girl that I actually swim with, so I've done more swimming in, you know, I suppose a week and a half than I have done in the last quite a long time. Because I'm swimming next to her, which is, you know, is getting, even this morning I got out there and she'd stopped and I'd kept going and I went, oh my God, I sort of got carried away with myself. I was a little bit, you know, you just get in that a little bit of a meditative state, you know, and my fur baby, he's loving me being at home as much because he gets to walk every day, which is good. Yeah. So I'm doing that every day now. Putting exercise videos out there on my Facebook page, that, you know, on my squad Facebook page, different exercise dry land routines, you know, helping if anyone needs any kind of planning, because I think the biggest thing now, because we don't have a structure, you know, we have so much structure in our life, and now that we don't have a structure, you know, well, for me, I'm jobless now, as a lot of other Australians are. You still have to remain structured. So I still get up, I still go and do a little bit of the coaching that I can. I come home, I make sure that I still get dressed properly. You know, I've cleaned the house, I've gone through drawers, and I don't like the cleaning. I'm not the domestic side, but anyway, I'm sort of doing that kind of thing, and just doing things and ticking them off as I go. That way I know what I've achieved. So life hasn't stopped, it's just changed.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you again. You, as I mentioned before, you are a beautiful person inside out, and you're doing an incredible job in the world, raising two beautiful children and wife to Rick, and coaching all these incredible kids to be the best people that they can be. You do a great job. So thank you again, and very much appreciated.